shadow of the lower alimentary canal actually mapped out on the mouth. Kind of fascinating, isn't it? So when we look for these types of areas, we may actually be seeing something that's happening in the GI system itself. Okay? Now, the area where hormones are processed most is the liver and the colon. Okay? Liver health, again, we've talked about many times, is very dependent upon a methylation process, which is basically your B vitamins, and specifically methylcobalamin in the B12 forms. SAMe is another common methylation helper or aid. But we look at all of those B vitamins and the methylation process, and then the SAMe, acetylcholine, acetyl-L-carnitine, N-acetylcysteine, S-acetylglutathione, all of those are very important in this methylation process, which is a building pathway for all of our hormones, our neurotransmitters, and proteins, which proteins are enzymes. So this methylation process is very important. The liver is also essential, though, in phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways. And phase 2 is primarily driven by the glutathione pathway. So as we look at this then, this is very essential to the processing of hormones. Okay? The health of the colon is very, very dependent upon probiotics, vitamin D as in Daryl, calcium, and alpha-lipoic acid. Now, in past lectures, we've talked about these as important constituents in being able to actually help the colon heal from polyps. Remember, we've talked about that before. Okay? So, the GI system, again, and this overlay of the mouth, the GI system for eliminating hormones, the hormonal pathways that are followed through the liver, and then also the GI system for elimination is a key. So these two things are very, very essential to the wellness of the overall maintenance of a healthy system, and especially then when we look at acne. Now let me just look at one other thing. One other big window into, bless you, an adolescent's gut health is when that kid comes home, "Hey mom, welcome home son." And the first thing he does is he takes off his gym shoe cleats, right? And they reek, right? Whew. Okay? When gym shoes reek, you actually are smelling a toxic gut. Okay? So the smell of gym shoes is actually a bad presentation of the GI flora and the GI elimination pathway. Okay? So that's the young teenager again that comes home, kicks off his shoes, and everybody says, "Whoa, when you put those babies back on." Okay? Or mom says, "How do we know when to get rid of his little Timmy's shoes? When they stink so badly that we can't keep them in the house anymore. Not even the dog will chew on them." Right? So, the smell of the feet is also an indicator of the health of the gut.
So, my question would be during a pubescent phase, it seems like that's when the kids get the smelly feet the most because their body hormones are trying to figure things out with the gut.
Correct.
And all that, so.
Exactly.
And that's why it seems like it shows up the most.
Absolutely. And what is usually their healthy eating habit? More pizza, more diet. Yep, more diet and soda, right? More drinking soda, more chips, more sandwich. And usually what you'll find very consistently is poor eating habits. Now what about those kids that say, "Well, I don't have a poor eating habit"? So when I was 16 years old, I didn't eat sugar. That was just something my dad decided to do, and I joined him. Okay, I had cystic acne. It was so bad that my self-esteem was in the toilet. I felt terrible. And so at that time, I ate really well. My dad ate really well. My family ate really well. But my body still didn't process that correctly. And so they put me on a prescription that helped with my liver function, and it cleared up. But there were some really deleterious side effects to that at the time I was just grateful I didn't have acne anymore. Knowing what I know now, probably would have tried something different. Okay? But as we look at this, again, these are the primary pathways that we really want to focus on. Does that kind of make sense? Now, as we look at that, again, you may be the person who's doing everything right and it still isn't processing just right. Yeah. And it's still, gosh, what's going on? So, what then, we actually look at the back and shoulders then is hormonal for females often, and also on the chest. Okay? And that will be often with hormones as well. These are the areas that we really want to look at in the body now. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Any questions there?
So if you treat, what the indication, or what the body's indicating, it should, acne should clear up and you shouldn't have issues with it.
Correct. So sometimes
you're not just cursed with adult acne forever.
Right. So then there's the question, well, what if I'm way past puberty? What if I've already had some kids and I still have acne? Okay? Then we really want to make sure that we've cleared out these pathways really, really well. Okay? If we've cleared these pathways and we've really optimized them, then we may need to look at some fine-tuning in this area. Okay? Or some fine-tuning in this area. But in gross generalizations, most people respond fairly quickly to those.
And then also, for teenagers who, like you're saying, you were eating well and stuff, you still, that fine-tuning could help them as well. They don't have to
Absolutely.
be cursed with that as well.
Right. Please?
As children growing up, my mother always used to give us like a laxative every week. We didn't have acne.
Yeah.
If we would start to get it, she would give it to us.
Interesting.
And it would leave.
Interesting. So again,
We were raised on a fruit farm.
on a fruit farm and that, right, and eliminating any type of GI congestion. Okay, it's very interesting. I've known of people that one of their treatments from, if you will, parents and grandparents' days was an enema. Which is very, very effective for some of them. So the answer is can be. Hi, welcome. Any other questions there? Any other questions? No? Okay. So again, the skin as one of 4 barriers is very, very important. It gives us a great window into overall health. And the more closely that we look at it, the more closely that we listen to it, if you will, okay, it can give us really an indication of what the body and the brain are doing. The more consistently then that we maintain it, the more healthy a person will be. And as we look at one of the most important things for skin, vitamin D is very important for overall skin health. Okay? The essential fatty acids, very important for overall skin health. Okay? Coconut oils, very, very good for this overall skin health. Very good. And as we look at the whole of the system again, look at the health of the skin and start to think also of the brain. The healthier the skin is as we age, the healthier is our brain. Okay? Essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are very important for the skin. Vitamin D, vitamin D, as in Daryl, or dermis. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. And one other thing.
Which foods to eat a lot of?
So foods to eat a lot of. Chia is really high in the omega-3 fatty acids. Borage oil, very, very high in the essential fatty acid gamma-linoleic acid. Okay, coconut and coconut oils, very, very healthy oils, and so are olive oils. Okay, I like those oils. Then also fish oils are very good. And there is a lot of benefit from actually bone meal broths and skin broths. Okay, so boiling down the whole chicken instead of just the meat, boiling down the whole chicken. Remember how we used to take a whole chicken and boil it and make a broth, call it a stock, and then actually use that for something besides pouring down the sink? Right? We used to make something with that. Well, that's good.
So drink that.
Yes, use that. That's very, very nourishing to the skin, the bones, and the brain. Please.
So what's your belief on fish oils? A lot of times I've heard that those are rancid by the time you get those off the shelf.
So the question is, what about fish oils? All of my fish oils we keep refrigerated. They come from the factory refrigerated. We keep them refrigerated. Yes, fish oils do rancify quickly. I mean, think about it. If you can keep fish on the counter and fish skin on the counter for more than a couple of days, great, go for it. I don't know what kind of fish you're using, but same thing. If you have an oil, you should keep it cool. Okay, even your olive oil. You've seen olive oil go rancid before. You see it turn that dark, putrid green. That's not good. Dump it out. That's an expensive loss. Okay, so keep them cool, definitely. Okay. They're a different type of oil because unlike a motor oil, which you don't consume, it doesn't have that high heat property, and so just staying warm, it will actually become rancid. Please?
I was wondering that, like with olive oil, you know, different oils, you always hear, you know, that they can go rancid easily. I mean, is the sign the smell? If they smell all right, are they okay? Or is there still...
Smell and taste. If you taste an oil and it doesn't taste the same, you know what olive oil tastes like, and you know what it would, if it tasted bad, what it would taste like.
So if as long as it tastes good, it should be
use
good.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd use your taste, or look at if it's growing something, don't use it, right?